أحمده وأستعينه وأؤمن به وأتوكل عليه ثم أصلي وأسلم على خاتم أنبيائه وأفضل سفرائه المحمود الأحمد المصطفى الأمجد أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا سيما بقية الله في أرضه وحجته على عباده المهدي المنتظر فداه أرواح العالمين. قال الله العظيم في محكم كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وما تنقم منا إلا أن آمنا بآيات ربنا لما جاءتنا ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وتوفنا مسلمين. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Newton's third law of gravity states that any action has an equal and opposite reaction. This law of Newton, or this statement by Newton, isn't exclusive to the laws of gravity. Rather, it also applies elsewhere in life. Specifically, whenever you're looking for an accomplishment, an achievement in life, you have to put in enough effort whose outcome will be that accomplishment that you're looking for, the achievement that you're looking for. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَأَن لَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى. Man will never be able to get his hands on anything except for the things that he seeks, the things that he works for, the things that he struggles for. And only when you put in enough effort and enough struggle will you receive an accomplishment that is equivalent to the amount of effort that you have put in. And so if anybody is looking to become the greatest athlete of all time, then this requires the greatest effort of all time. If you want to become the most successful businessman on earth, then this requires you to put in more effort than all the other businessmen in this world. And so, all accomplishments, all achievements in life require an equivalent amount of effort and struggle. Which is why Imam Zayn al-Abidin salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi says, من سأل الله التوفيق ولم يجتهد فقد استهزأ بنفسه. Whoever asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for success, but then doesn't put in the required effort, then he has made a mockery out of himself. You are not Maryam, the daughter of Imran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not bring down His blessings for you. If you want something, you need to go get it. You need to fetch it. And this requires struggle. It requires effort. It requires hard work. You cannot go into an examination hall hoping to become successful in this exam if you haven't studied the entire night before. Now, in this regard, the highest achievements, the greatest accomplishments, the greatest statuses in this world require the greatest amount of struggle, the greatest amount of hardship and sacrifice. We've all read about these crazy billionaires who spend their entire lives in their offices. They're workaholics. They pay no attention to their family, no attention to their personal health. And obviously, when they put in all of this time and hard work, they will gain something out of it. Of course, at the expense of their families and at the expense of their mental and physical well-being. But the highest statuses in this world, as well as the next, require the greatest amount of effort, the greatest amount of struggle. Which is why Amirul Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, says that if a mountain loves me, if a mountain likes me, لَتَهَافَتْ, that mountain will melt to the ground if it likes me. Because having the love of Amirul Mu'mineen is the greatest thing that you can have. It is the greatest achievement and accomplishment in your life if you are considered a Shia of Amirul Mu'mineen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He speaks of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi wa ala nabiyyina wa alihi afdal salati wa salam, He says, وَإِنَّا مِن شِيعَتِهِ لَإِبْرَاهِيمِ. One of the Shi'as, among the Shi'as of Amirul Mu'mineen, is Ibrahim, according to our hadith. And so this is your greatest life accomplishment, the fact that you are a Shia of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Your love for Ali ibn Abi Talib is priceless. Do not give away that love of Ali ibn Abi Talib for free. Do not give it away for any amount of money that is offered to you. Which is why someone comes to the Imam alayhi salam and he says that I am poor. The Imam says, of course you're not poor. You're the wealthiest man on this earth. He says, how am I the wealthiest man? I'm struggling. I'm struggling to make ends meet. I'm struggling with my bills. I'm struggling with my rent. How am I the richest man alive? He says that you have with you something that you will not sell for the highest price on earth. If they were to take you to Christie's or Sotheby's, these great auction houses, and tell you that we will give you $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion, $1 quadrillion just for you to take that love of Ali ibn Abi Talib from your heart and give it to us, will you give it away? Of course not. How could you consider yourself to be poor when you have something that is absolutely priceless? Imagine if you have some undocumented painting by Leonardo da Vinci at your house. You can't consider yourself to be poor because you have the greatest painting of all time, the most expensive painting of all time. And here's my advice. Once you understand the value of the love of Ali ibn Abi Talib, make sure that you do not give it away. Every song that you listen to, every swear word that you use, every image that you see online that you shouldn't be seeing, this chips away at the love of Ali ibn Abi Talib. It takes away from that love of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Every prayer that you miss, And then, God forbid, with enough of these acts, you will find yourself with no love for Ali ibn Abi Talib. This will create a vacuum in your heart that is a great habitat for the shaitan. Now, this is why that all the Shia of Amirul Mu'mineen are subjected to hardship in life. You claim to be a Shia. You claim to be someone who, if he was alive during the time of Imam al-Hussein, he would have also joined the camp of Imam Hussein? Let's see. Let's test you. Let's see if that love, if that statement that you're making, that claim that you're making is truthful. How? We will put you to test. You will have to go through this exam. If you're truthful, you'll pass. But here's where a lot of people fail. And so all of the Shia, all of the Mu'mineen are subjected to the greatest and the harshest punishments for their love of Amirul Mu'mineen. In the verse that I recited in the beginning of this short lecture, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the sorcerers of Musa, or the sorcerers of Pharaoh. When they saw the mu'jizat, when they saw the ayat, as the Quran refers to them, when they saw the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with Prophet Musa, immediately they had to submit to the truth. They submitted and they claimed that submission at that time. As soon as this happened, Pharaoh began to claim things that were untruthful. He said that you claim, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Pharaoh started to make claims. He said that you want to take over this government, you want to throw all of these people into exile. How did they respond? They said all of these are lies. You're here to spread corruption. All of these are lies. وَمَا تَنْقِمُ مِنَّا. The only thing that you have against us, the only thing that you actually hate, وَمَا تَنْقِمُ مِنَّا إِلَّا أَنْ آمَنَّا بِآيَاتِ رَبِّنَا لَمَّا جَاءَتْنَا. The only thing that you hate about us is that we submitted to the truth. We submitted to the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we saw them. And so all of these Shi'as that you see being oppressed all around the world, their crime isn't that they want to spread corruption. Their crime isn't terrorism. Their crime isn't any of this. Their crime is that they submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to His book, to His prophets, and to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa and his holy household. Last night, a tragic terrorist act occurred in the city of Parachinar in Pakistan. 102 people were brutally massacred. Their crime is that they loved Ali ibn Abi Talib, not for anything else. Now, these terrorist organizations have governments and have influential people that support them, that give them weapons. We're not going to talk about those people. But their crime was that they are Shia, that they love Ali ibn Abi Talib, that they submit to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I will inshallah mention one hadith and I'll wrap up. In a hadith narrated by somebody by the name of Bashar, he says that one day I went to see Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. The Imam was sitting there and he had a plate of dates known as tabarzad, which are a variety of extremely sweet dates. He was eating from this platter of dates. When I entered, he said to me, Ya Bashar, come here and eat with me, join me. He said, I'm sorry, something happened today, I saw something today, and that scenery was so harsh that it took my appetite. I don't feel like eating. The Imam salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi says to him, بِحَقِّي عَلَيْكَ لَمَّا أَكَلْتَ. He swore by his own right over Bashar that you need to come and eat from these dates. He says, I came closer and I started to eat from these dates. Then the Imam says, Hadithuk, what happened to you? What are you talking about? He said, while I was walking in the street, in the market, when I suddenly saw this policeman who was pulling this lady in his arm while also beating her on the head. And I asked what her crime was. Alaykum salam wa rahmatullah. About what justifies police brutality openly on the street or in the market. They said that she was walking when she tripped. As she tripped, she said this statement, لَعَنَ اللَّهُ ظَالِمِيكِ يَا فَاطِمَةَ. Oh Fatima, may Allah curse the ones that oppressed you. And this is what led to this policeman committing this act, pulling her to take her to jail and striking her on the head. He says, as soon as I said this, the Imam alayhi salam left the dates that he was eating and he began to cry. He cried and he cried and he cried until his handkerchief, his beard, his clothing was soaked with his own tears. Then he said, قُمْ بِنَا يَا بَشَّارِ. Get up, let's go to the masjid of Sahl and let's ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and pray that He frees this woman. She has done nothing to deserve this. And he also sent a few people to go to the house of the Sultan, the governor at the time. They go there while he is in the masjid. Bashar says that he prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 2 units of prayer and I prayed with him. Then he started to recite a dua. The dua is also narrated in the hadith. Then he went into a state of prostration, a state of sujood. And I couldn't hear anything but his breaths. When suddenly he rose, he said, they freed the woman. Let's go back. As they're leaving the mosque, that person that the Imam alayhi salam sent to the door of the governor's house is running towards them. He said, they freed the woman. The Imam says, what happened? He says, I was waiting there when they freed her. Then this bodyguard came out and he said, please forgive the governor. Unfortunately, it shouldn't have happened like this. We could have sold this amicably and diplomatically. And then he gave her a pouch with 200 dirhams, 200 silver coins. But she said that I don't want to take from the money of these people. I don't want dirty money. The Imam alayhi salam here stops him. He says, wait, she declined to take the money from the governor? He says, yes. And by God, I know that she needs the money. She's also struggling to make ends meet. The Imam alayhi salam began to cry. Then he took out a pouch from his own blessed pocket and he gave it to the man. It had 7 gold dinars, which is equivalent to 70 dirhams, more or less. And he said, take this pouch to this lady, convey her my salams, and take this pouch to her. They went there, they see the woman, they gave her the pouch, then they said that Ja'far ibn Muhammad conveys his salam. Immediately, she says, who am I? Did you just say that Ja'far ibn Muhammad salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi conveys his salam to me? They said, yes, wallah, aqra'aki salam. Suddenly she falls unconscious. Imagine if someone comes up to you and he says that Imam al-Zaman alayhi salam conveys his salam to you. Who am I? I'm not even worthy of the Imam's salams. They said we waited until she gained her consciousness. Then she asked again, did the Imam alayhi salam convey my salams? Convey to me his salams? She repeated the question 3 times. We repeated the answer 3 times. Then she said, go to him and tell him that I need his prayers. I want him to pray for me so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives me. Because I know that if there's anyone who's closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this earth, it has to be him. We recite in الزيارة الجامعة إن بيني وبين الله عز وجل ذنوبا لا يأتي عليها إلا رضاكم. That I've committed things that will not be forgiven except if you intercede for me, because you are the closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They came back, they told the Imam alayhi salam. The Imam began to cry. The point is this, that the love of Ahlul Bayt requires great struggle. It requires hard work. It requires a lot of effort. Whenever you're going through hardship in life, sickness, illness, whatever happens to you, financial issues, family issues, as long as you are steadfast on the path of Ahlul Bayt, then all of this is for good reason. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يغفر لي ولكم وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.